In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can import from your web replay account a replay contest. The importer is very, very powerful, but there are a few caveats to it that need to be explained. The first one is when you do an import of your replay contest, it is perfectly okay to take a look at it in services first. Make sure it's what you expect it to be before you remove your in-world boards. But do be aware that once it is online in the services application and is configured with the correct sources, the moment you import it, it will be online. This is one of the few instances where right on import, it will be online. But the good news is it doesn't get set up with your sources and stuff. So you have to manually put those in. So even though it will be online, it won't be collecting any data. But if you want it, if it looks good and you want it to start collecting data, then pull those sources and regions into the selected, and then get rid of your web replay boards in world, and you're good to go. Is it recommended to close your region before you do this? Want to risk making an additional payment? Yes. Because it's, you have two completely different systems and now they're both active with the exact same things on them. So what I did is I actually configured the replay, or I imported my web replay. I looked at it, I made sure that it was fine. It looked good to me, the import, and then I had the data sender ready to go, and it was already sending all the game data up and everything. I went and I selected my regions and my sources, put them in the replay contest, and I saw the first person get counted on that. And as soon as that happened, I knew that it was working, and then I picked up my web replay boards. I would recommend you pick them up. If an emergency happens, you can re-res them down. You're good to go. Because web replay, similar to services, right, is stored on the cloud, and so the boards don't necessarily matter that much. So yeah, but if you close your region, it gives you a little bit of leeway. So that a duplicated payment won't happen. I know this isn't feasible for every operator, so you're gonna have to do kind of, I guess I can say the best you can. But let me show you how to do an import and show you basically how fast you can look at it, and to show you about a couple things you may want to be mindful of. So in the tools menu here, you have an option that says import web replay contest from your web replay account. Now this, I believe, is already tied to my account. So I will have my replay contest here. So when you load this up, it says this tool allows you to import contests from your web replay account. Click the detect contest button to show a list of all your web replay contests. Then click the import button to toggle the contests you wish to import the contents into RA Core services. If there is a check mark, it will be imported. If there is an X, it will not. Okay, so let's detect the contests. Now here are all my replay contests, and it's kind of in a crappy order here. I'm just going to order it by name. And I have all my contests here. So let me pick one that I know is currently in use, okay, which is Ruby Game 0, 1, and 2. Okay, this is my fast one, I believe my weekly and my monthly. Okay, so I'm going to import all three of these actually, because this is all for one region, right? So I'm going to import these three. And I'm going to say import selected. It says you are about to import 3 web replay contests. It will automatically create the web replay contest if it does not exist, or will overwrite settings and players info if the replay with the same name already exists. So you need to make sure that the name does not already exist. Do you want to create it? No, because let's say I want to change these names, right? Let's say for whatever reason this already exists, or I want to be consistent. I would say edit name, and then I'll say like Ruby replay fast 01, replay weekly 01, monthly 01. Okay, so now I have my 3 replay contests named. These are the originals. This is the new name. Import selected, same warning, and I'm going to say yes. It says it's begun, and I hit OK. And you don't see it, it came on my other screen, but the import process has been completed. 3 of the given 3 contests have been imported. Additional information about the process is listed below. All contests have been imported successfully. Great. Okay. No region, not grouped. Replay, and here they are. See, I can go to Ruby Replay Fast, and you see there's no sources, no regions. I go to Board View, start simulation, and I will see all my players. And everybody's already listed there. It is important to note that this amount here on your credits ranking on the pot will most likely be a lot lower than what you see in World. That is expected and is by design. The web replay does not update this number except when the credit session is over. This is the same way that replay in services functions. This number will not decrease in real time. There is a way to make it do that in the settings, but by default it does not, okay, which is the same behavior as web replay. However, on the import, there is no way for us to be able to tell what that value is in web replay because it just does the calculation and displays it. So the only number we can come up with is the total of the imported credits from the players. And so right now on this contest, the imported amount is $26.77. Okay, so do be prepared. Don't panic if that number is way off. What matters is your players came in with credits. It also will not import players that have already used all their credits for that credit session. So like if there were 50 players in this session that had replay and nearly half of them used all their stuff, they will not come in. Okay, they will show 0, so it doesn't impact them. Okay. So if all, and you can look at weekly and monthly, and if all of this looks good, then, and you glance at it and you're like, yep, this is good. And you come over to monthly and you do the same thing. Whoops, say this looks good. Okay. And it's kind of funny, I mentioned that these would not show up. I guess they do show up, but it doesn't, what value they had before doesn't count. Like, you know, whereas you see it only says 37 because right here, this is the only guy left. This is my weekly and I've only got 27 minutes left. So everybody's used their cash credits, but this guy's leaving 37. So it only shows up 37, okay, because it doesn't know what all these people had. But when the next session rolls over, this will read 84K, okay, as you would normally expect it to. So when all this is done, and you're set up here, then you're good to go, right? And then you can come over here, you can quit out, and we can, well, actually, let me go back, sorry. I meant to go to the first thing here, general settings. You can then say, okay, well, let's say I had a Ruby Games region. We need to add those, right? So edit regions, create new. Ruby Games, I'm not going to worry right now for the swirl. Ruby Games 2, because it's one of my 2 region places, and I'm going to go to fast. Oops. And close these. You do need, if you make changes to sources and regions, you do need to reopen these because it loads the data up from those tables when you load this page or load these settings. So now you have Ruby Games here, and you would drag this over here. Ruby Games here, you drag this over here. Ruby Games here, you drag this over here, and then we want to do every single source. And again, we're able to do this on the sources because we're operating under the assumption that every single place has the correct source layout. Now that all this is done, we're going to change the pair region to Ruby Games, pair region to Ruby Games, pair region to Ruby Games. and we're done. Now we can pick up, assuming the data sender is ready and sending all the data and everything else, we can pick up a web replays. We verified everything looks good. We set the payers to the correct regions. We've got the replay payer out, right? You would have configured your payer for replay. It's in Ruby Games. And you verified the board's imported correctly through the board view. And your data sender is sending this data up, and you've now got the sources and the regions set up in your contest. So any data coming from Ruby Games is now being processed by the contest. Pick up your web replay boards. Now you can go and res your builder and have it build Ruby Replay Fast 01, and then you can shift copy like we did before, click the services button, and enter this one, shift copy, click the services button, and enter this one. And then you have your 3 replay boards. So that is how you do a web replay import through web services. I called it web services, didn't I? Through services.